Hey, welcome back. Andrew Finney here. All right, I wish I had better news to share with you in this video, but here's the thing. We're getting hit from almost every angle about how we're in a housing recession. Some say it could be worse than 2008. So, is any of it true? And if it is, who's to blame? And more importantly, where do we go from here? We'll talk about that and more coming up next. As always, timestamps and resources are linked in the description below this video because I value your time and I appreciate you being here. Thank you. So a quick Google search will show you all kinds of articles and videos like this one on CNBC about how home sales fell nearly 6% in July as the housing market slides into a recession. Even Lawrence Yun, who is the chief economist of the National Association of Realtors, or NAR for short, agrees. He said, "We're witnessing a housing recession in terms of declining home sales and home building." He went on to say, however, it's not a recession in home prices. Inventory remains tight and prices continue to rise nationally, with nearly 40% of all homes on the market still commanding their full list price. So, who is responsible for the housing recession? Some say it's the Fed's fault for aggressively hiking the rates. Others blame the builders for not building enough homes, yet another group says it's institutional investors that are the culprit. Some of the big institutional investors include big players like Invitation Homes, the aptly named American Homes for Rent, and now the Jeff Bezos-backed Arrived Homes. Yet others assign politicians the blame for not acting to curtail the housing market's issue. So what's really happening here, and is it possible a perfect storm is just starting to form? If so, how do we prepare now, and what do we do next? Can any single entity be 100% responsible for what's happening? Or is it perhaps a culmination of many events taking place over time that has got us to where we are now?
I don't know.
To be clear, this isn't a video about finger pointing per se, inasmuch as addressing how it seems that we arrived in this position based upon the variables that impact the real estate market. I hope that this video will serve as a conversation starter on these topics and more so we can discover solutions together to address the ongoing issues within the housing market. Let's see who the key players are and what they are doing. Then we can decide how we will move forward. One thing is for sure, it will take all of us working together to be the change we want to see in this country and this world. If you honestly believe that too, let me know in the comments.
Leave a comment down below.
I genuinely do believe that we are all stronger and better together. You are the reason I create videos. Now look, we don't have to take any of this laying down. We don't have to accept it for what it is. We can change it and make it better for a brighter tomorrow. But it will require us to accept the facts even if we don't like what we see. So the first step is to accept the current reality to learn what led to this situation. Then we can assess the steps we can take to protect ourselves and each other and how to get it right going forward. To be honest, I don't have all the answers. I'm here because I truly care about what's happening in our society, country, world, and you. Though we may never meet, I care greatly about you. In fact, I rack my brain every single day and I stay awake at night trying to figure out how can I add value to you and help you in a meaningful way. So please let me know in the comments how I can best serve you. I hope we will come together as one people to pave the way for future generations before it's too late. So let's talk about the Fed. The Fed has 4 primary responsibilities, including conducting the nation's monetary policy by influencing money and credit conditions in the economy in pursuit of full employment and stable prices. Of course, that includes a watchful eye on inflation. According to the US inflation calculator, the current inflation rate is 8.5%. The Fed's target inflation rate is 2% as outlined in an FOMC statement released earlier this year. For reference, FOMC stands for the Federal Open Market Committee. Since January 2022, the Fed has increased their federal funds rate 4 times. According to the New York Fed, the current rate is 2.33%. From the recent Fed minutes, it seems likely that they will increase the federal funds rate for a 5th time this year during their next meeting in September. Some speculate that the Fed will reduce or pause the rate hikes in 2023 in response to lower inflation and recessionary conditions. Yet, from what the Fed is actually saying, I wouldn't hold my breath or pin my hopes on conjecture speculating what the Fed may or may not do. Instead, I will watch what they say. Time reveals all, and we'll all see what happens together. One thing is for sure, taking time to care for your money and your credit will serve you well, whether high or low rates are on the horizon. But maybe that's just the Marine in me. I'd rather plan for the worst, hope for the best, and be ready for any contingency. What about you? Would you prefer to be prepared or get caught with your pants down?
You guys ready?
Next, let's talk about the builders. Why aren't they building more homes? According to Mike Kinsella, the CEO of Up for Growth, the US has a housing shortage of about 3.8 million homes. Add a housing affordability crisis to the mix, and the solution seems to be obvious. Build more affordable homes. So why aren't the builders building more homes and increasing the amount of affordable housing they create? Well, the chief economist for the National Association of Home Builders, or NAHB for short, Robert Dietz, says this: tighter monetary policy from the Federal Reserve and persistently elevated construction costs have brought on a housing recession. That was posted on August 15th on the NAHB website as a rationale for declining home builder confidence. Now, the builders are beginning to slash their own prices, given the number of buyer cancellations in July. Not to mention, housing sentiment for buyers and sellers has fallen to the lowest level since 2011, as we can see on this chart by Fannie Mae. Honestly, there is so much more that we can dive into, and if you want to, let me know in the comments. I'm happy to do it, thanks. But to keep this video on message and to keep it as quick and possible for you, let's keep moving. A growing number of people believe institutional investors are a leading cause of creating an artificial housing market. How so? Well, by purchasing around 24% of all US homes for sale in 2021, according to this post by the Pew Charitable Trust. That's roughly 1 in 4 homes bought by a faceless corporation versus a real person like you and me.
Now that I own the building, I'm looking for new sources of revenue.
Now, I don't know about you, but personally, corporations buying homes like this really piss me off. I mean, I'm all for the American dream of home ownership. A corporation may be counted as a legal entity, like a person according to the law, but a corporation is not a person. So to snap up 24% of all homes for sale in an already tight housing market just seems very wrong. In 2022, institutional investors have already purchased an estimated 22% of homes for sale between January and May 2022. What? In most cases, they turn around and rent out the properties, making it even harder for somebody to buy a home, and they are one of the causes for skyrocketing rental rates. Since the corporation isn't a person, it's not living there, it doesn't care, so the corporation will do nothing more than flip the homes or rent the houses out. One of the most shocking facts about institutional investors is how they get the money. It's easy to say the money comes from Wall Street investors and venture capital, which is true, but it's not the whole story. They also get billions of dollars from individual investors. How so? Let's take a look. Have you ever heard about Residential Real Estate Investment Trust, or REIT, R-E-I-T for short? When was the last time you heard someone talk about wanting to invest in real estate? Maybe they didn't have all the money they needed to invest into a property outright. However, they were still interested in learning how they could earn a passive income from real estate. So what options do they have? Enter a real estate investment trust. According to REIT.com, a real estate investment trust, REIT, is a company that owns, operates, or finances income-producing real estate. REITs can be found directly or as part of a larger grouping of investment offerings, much like a mutual fund. More recently, we see Jeff Bezos-backed Arrived Homes offering investors the opportunity of choosing which property to buy. The initial investment generally ranges between $100 to $10,000 per property. So let's take this a step further, and you tell me what you think about this. Are these good investment opportunities? Well, maybe, But the way I see it is that home buyers that invest in these companies increase the amount of investor activity in purchasing homes. So essentially, they are their own competition and the competition of other buyers in the market with them by virtue of investing in these companies. So if a person wants to buy a home of their own and they invest in a REIT for something like Arrived Homes, then they are likely to compete with all cash offers from corporations. They helped fund them. That doesn't seem right to me, and I dare say perhaps it should be criminal or at least highly regulated. Now, that's just my opinion. What are your thoughts about this, and should anything be done about it? If you want to go deeper into this, check out this video I created about America for Rent. I created it earlier this year where I dove a lot deeper into the world of real estate investment trusts. So that brings up politics and what politicians are or are not doing to help a housing shortage and housing affordability crises. At least in some parts of our country, politicians are starting to take notice of its impact in terms of escalating home prices and boxing people out of home ownership. Case in point, in this post by Route 50, Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens has said he wants the city, where the median home price rose 14% over the past year to $426,000, to place limits on how much real estate institutional investors may purchase. What do you think should be done? One thing that we can do is to petition our elected officials. Now, some people might say, Andrew, that's not going to work. It's not going to help us. The politicians don't care. And you might be right, but consider this. Maybe it won't work, but we won't know unless we try. What if it does work? I haven't created a petition before, so if you're watching this video and you know how, let's talk about it. Perhaps we can start a productive movement together to change what's happening in the housing market and to improve our country together. One thing we should all remember when it comes to elected officials is this: we, the people, elect them. They do not elect us. They are elected to serve our country and all Americans. We are not here as a servant to politicians or corporations. Without us, a candidate cannot be elected, nor can a corporation earn money. Let's keep that in mind as we move forward. We are stronger and better together when we stand united. A divided house will fall. So let us mend the wounds and look for the good in each other. In the process, we'll find we're not so different, and the divide will close. Let's heal our wounds and the wounds of our neighbors so that we can come together and be the change we want to see in our country and our world. Thank you. Okay. Now, maybe you're thinking through your options and you're wondering what you should do next. So click here to watch how the home buying process works, or click here to learn 5 effective strategies to sell your house. Either way, the choice is yours. I look forward to seeing you in the following video. Until then, I'm sending you positive vibes. Everything goes your way.